Good morning. This is Tom back from a little summer break, making my first video in quite a while. I have a project here for the fall. It's the end of August now. This is a Howard 430 from the mid 1930s, I believe, mid to late 1930s. It is a Art Deco style radio, which is what appeals to me about it. While I have it on its side, we'll take a look underneath. It appears to be completely original. It has all the original paper caps, a couple electrolytics at either end that look original. This is in rough shape. It had mice in it, for sure. I cleaned out a nest of material that extended from both the top to the bottom. And as you can see, there was some urine that rusted the chassis quite a bit. There was a lot of nesting material in there, and they chewed on the wire there. At least the wire's there. I can see where it went, but the cloth cover's gone. So as you can tell, this is going to need quite a bit of derusting. I think I'm going to end up completely stripping the chassis and rebuilding it and soaking this in a derusting type solution. I've generally in the past gotten away with using navel jelly just on the surface and cleaning it good, but this one I think I may strip and soak. Going around to the front, one thing these are unfortunately notorious for is the dials rusted on them. They are a steel plate dial with a brass type plating, and inevitably because of the steel you get this bleed through rust through the plating. I've never seen one that didn't have it, in pictures at least, and I've seen discussions about it on Antique Radio Forum and other places, and I don't know of anybody that successfully derusted one of these, because of course you would destroy the paint that makes up the dial indicators. That's kind of a raised black paint on there. I do have an idea of how to maybe just derust this. I'm going to attempt it. If I ruin the dial plate, well, I could either try to get another one from a parts radio or try to reconstruct it from pictures, although getting the dial, layout the right way to work correctly with the frequencies would be probably too much. I'd probably have to get a replacement. I do not have the original dials, knobs rather. They were missing, so I'll have to find a set of knobs for it. These are just plain, well, they're all round. One is the D-shaped, and this one is a dual. No, actually it's a single one in the middle. Taking here a look at the chassis, the case that I have. These are a few pictures that I took of it. You can see that it's solid black. The original was black, but it had white lines on it and it had decals. Here's a picture of an original one as it should be, not mine. This is a picture I found on the internet. And then back to mine. It's a little bit of a mystery to me why this was painted solid black. I suppose something happened to the radio to mar the finish and somebody decided to just paint it black. Although looking at it closely and looking at the chips, I can't tell that it had been repainted. At least it's not obvious. And there's no indication of the old decal lettering underneath. You would think it would be raised a little, and you might see it through the paint that's covering it, but there's no indication of it at all, so I don't know. At any rate, I do have replacement decals that I bought from Radio Days that is for a model 435. This is a model 430, and the wording is a little bit different, but it's close enough and the logo's the same that I think I can mostly recreate what's on the front, and for the remaining parts of the letters it's not on my decals. I'll have to figure out a way to do that, whether I use transfer decals, whether I paint them on, we'll see. I'll try to come up with something. So there you have it. Back to the bench here for Tom. I'm going to order up the capacitors and begin working on taking the chassis down, and took a whole bunch of reference photos. This is kind of a little unnerving for me. I've never completely stripped a chassis yet and put it back together, but I've seen other people do it and I know it can be done. I just hope I can do it. And going back here, I do have some reference material, but there's not a lot available on this radio. I do have a schematic. I do have these are riders. I do have a partial part list and at least a dial layout, which is important, the dial stringing. I don't think everything is on this and marked, because I'm counting more capacitors in the radio than I'm seeing on the schematic, and I don't know that there's another source for any kind of material on this radio, but let's hope it's enough. Okay, this is Tom, and thanks for tuning in this fall of 2015, and we're back to the bench and back on YouTube.